The Gremlin Street Gang is responsible for hundreds of violent crimes, murders, armed robberies, witness intimidation, burglaries, drug trafficking, extortion, and brutal beatings. We've arrested 10 of these thugs and have warrants on 7 more. Every one of these animals is most definitely armed and dangerous. Darren Carter, Aaron Carter, Travis Cooper, Cody Guidry, Jaron Diggs, Kirkland Demochet, and Jonathan Landry. We have felony warrants for your arrest. You will be hunted, you will be tracked, and if you raise your weapon to a man like me, we'll return fire with superior fire. Darren Carter, you think men like these are afraid of an uneducated, 125-pound punk like you that's never won a fair fight in your life and holds your gun sideways? Young man, I'll meet you on solid ground anytime, anywhere, light or heavy. Makes no difference to me. You won't walk away. Look at you. Men like us, son, we do dumbbell presses with weights bigger than you. And the convicts in jail, most of those men are good people who just found themselves crossed with the law. They're not evil, and they don't respect you or any punk like you. They'll toss you around like a rag doll. I encourage every citizen watching this to look into your own heart and find the American courage that conquers all evil. I implore you to listen to this message and stand up. Take back your streets. Take back your country. Come forward with information about these heathens that have terrorized your community. And for those who would use this message as a way to create false racial division in our country, take a close look behind me. Standing next to every cop is a leader of our black community. This is not about race. It's about right versus wrong. One last message to the Gremlins. You don't like the things I've told you tonight? I got one thing to say. I'm easy to find. On behalf of the St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office, the Louisiana State Police, the U.S. Marshals, and every cop and law-abiding citizen from sea to shining sea, I'm Captain Clay Higgins, asking every patriot to stand up, share this video, and send a clear message to the world. We're Americans. We'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees.
So, over the holiday break, I heard about the Houston murder of Cecil Brown at the Seaside Lounge, I think it's called. Um, I actually know some people down there in Houston, and basically what they described about the Seaside Lounge is it's a hood spot, but it has the best music. So black people gots to go there. So looking at this Cecil Brown situation, I got real upset because when I looked at photos of Cecil Brown, you can size somebody up. When I looked at photos of Cecil Brown, aside from the fact that he's, a father of, I believe, 2 children and now he's dead, um, he's an educated lame from what I see. Got his little tight shirt on and his bow tie, clean cut individual, right? Corny, cheesy smile, right? He's an educated lame, right? And the way I looked at it, Ray Ray and Pookie killing him is Ray Ray and Pookie killing any one of us. And in my opinion, this is going on for entirely too long. Entirely too long. When you don't respond, for what? How many decades have we been going on this shit? When you don't respond, people think that they can just do shit without, with impunity. Like there's not going to be, any consequences for their actions. I'm sitting here watching Donald Trump. He killed the Iranian general. I'm sure y'all seen that all over the news. And he put out a tweet talking about, we will respond very harshly or severely, his messed up language, right? And I'm like, see, there's a response. Now you got Iran talking about they're going to respond. There will be a harsh response. This is why responses are important. You know, those sort of small victories are important. It's one of the reasons why the system of white supremacy won't allow or didn't allow, Haiti to be seen as a successful example of a slave revolt. They all conspired against Haiti to make sure that Haiti was and will forever be the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. They would not trade with Haiti. Hell, France made it so that Haiti owed them like something like 90 billion or $90 trillion, whatever it was, for lost property. Oh, you mean freed slaves? You mean freed people who freed themselves? No, lost property. You see, this is why symbolism, this is why victories and bragging about your victories is important. Arguably people could say, why was he in that club if he's an educated lame? Why wasn't he rolling deeper than that? Because apparently he had a female relative that was in there. I don't know if it was his sister. His sister was on the news talking about it. But basically, he stood up for one of his female relatives, one of his black women by blood. Okay, he stood up for her. Something happened. There was an exchange of words. He got hit with a tequila bottle, and then 7 dudes proceeded to stomp him out. Okay. Then when it was all over and everybody was going out to their cars and whatnot, which, again, as a bouncer myself, you wait until the coast is clear if there was some shit going on. Everybody loves to keep their shit in their trunk. Okay. And honestly, the bouncers don't want to get involved, in some mess that they don't know who is who, what is what, who's connected to who, what, whatever. But the thing is like, what frustrates me, and maybe this is just the way society is, right? Maybe it's just the way that, the underworld works, right? Where you always have groups in the underworld that are, they're the criminal element in the, in a community, and they're not to be fucked with, right? But yet and still, when we look at the overall society, the system of white supremacy and everything, we all know that those suited and booted white men got muscle behind them. Remember, you can always pay half the poor to kill the other half. This is the problem with educated black men, educated lames, not controlling the economic landscape of the community, because if they did, then they would be able to pay half of the Ray Ray and Pookies to be on the damn payroll, and they would deal with the situation, and you wouldn't have to get your hands dirty. You wouldn't have to respond like I'm saying is what needs to be done at this time and juncture. I mean, these guys should have been found in the first 48 hours and taken the fuck out. Plain and simple. But I already know that a lot of educated lane, we don't even operate like that. We too busy. We worried about our good job that we get from the white man, and, our 401k and our pension and the comfortable house that we live in and everything. And I'm not telling you to do anything. I get it. I'm just saying, still doesn't change the fact that we look like some straight bitches. If we're talking about, camp versus camp, as opposed to, running around with this nonsensical rhetoric that, we're all black men and we're all on the same page. We're all on the same team. It's bullshit. You got rogue motherfuckers in the black community that need to be put the fuck down. And there's never a response. Again, this is why you see Donald Trump up there talking about, yeah, we took out this Iranian general, Soleimani or whatever his name. Yeah, we took him the fuck out. He was harming U.S. troops and shit. All this shit you never heard about. Yeah, he was plotting and planning and he was doing all this stuff. So we had to take him the fuck out. We've been known about him and his deeds, and we took him out. Right? There's no response like that in the black community. And even from the educated lame standpoint, there should be a more sophisticated, approach. There shouldn't be you go in there guns blazing. I mean, hell, when you look at the South and you look at the system of white supremacy and you look at how Jim Crow, was enacted upon black people, what did they do? The white people, they had the mayor, they had the prosecutors, they had the courts, they had the judges, they had the police chiefs and the fire marshals and everybody else. And when those white people decided to do some shit and make a black person go missing, what happened? Law enforcement came through and they turned a blind eye. But see, the white supremacists controlled the areas in which they wanted to maintain white supremacy from top to bottom. Arguably, they still doing that to this day, right? Which is why it always takes, anytime a black man gets killed by a cop, it always takes forever for there to be some sort of indictment or some sort of charge, even though it's blatant as hell and it's all on video and the cop's sitting there squeezing the trigger, yelling nigger, nigger, nigger. It's still, for some reason, it still doesn't matter. Still doesn't matter. There's still a delay, right? Because you know whose hand is moving the lever. But educated lanes, we don't have that type of power. And everybody knows we don't have that type of power. We don't have that type of response. I doubt that Cecil Brown was even a Second Amendment supporting, card carrying, NRA member and had his, concealed carry on him or in the car. Maybe he did. I doubt it. Knowing what I know about educated lames and being among, one of the, educated lames. You can barely get black men. If I met Cecil Brown, chances are, he would be oh, I'm voting Democrat, and he would be against the Second Amendment. I don't believe anybody should have that type of firepower. Why? Ray Ray and Pookie got that type of firepower. I'm not telling niggas to go out there barehanded. I'm saying if Pookie got guns, we need bigger guns. If Pookie got guns, we need more guns. That's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not telling people what to do, but there needs to be a response. These dudes should have been found and they should have been taken out. Plain and simple. The criminal elements need to be taken out. They need to be removed. And when you go, I found this videotape or this video clip of a Louisiana white dude, Louisiana police chief, I believe. And he was talking all type of shit. He said he found 7 of the felons he was looking for. He was looking for, a bunch of other guys, and he was naming them and talking all type of shit. Like, we don't have that type of bravery when it comes to educated lames, that type of response. Like, when you hear about, and I'm saying this whole idea that educated lames just got to be these pacifist motherfuckers is bullshit. When you look at men like the black men of Deacons of Defense, their deeds are legendary. They showed up, they responded, they got those children into the school. You know what I'm saying? No issue, white crowd back down. Yeah, there could have been conflict. It could have went bad, but it didn't. Because it's like, do you really want to do this? You see, but with us, there's no fucking response to anything. This is why a lot of people were shocked with the whole Micah Johnson thing after Philando Castile, got killed and whatnot. And any black person sitting there who wants to deny and say that low key, they were actually glad Micah Johnson did what he did, because there needed to be a response. So all these police officers running out here just shooting black people with impunity like ain't shit gonna happen. And then you see Micah Johnson doing that. I'm like, you do realize you live in an armed country. You know what I'm saying? Any one of us could go off the deep end and be on some stupid shit and go out there and shoot the fucking place up. That's just the reality. It's just the reality. You got all these armed people running around. That's one of the main reasons why they want to, disarm people and whatnot, because you can't really stop, mass shootings like that. My attitude is stop fucking with people and people will stop fucking with you. Again, that's not in every case, in every situation, but 9 times out of 10 when it comes to black people doing some shit like that, it's because somebody was fucking with them. It's just like the guy, somebody named him before, the brother out there in California, the guy out there in Louisiana, who did the same thing. These are men, yeah, they might have had issues and whatnot, but these are men who felt that, they were, what was the word, aggrieved, right? That they had shit had either been done to them or done to their people, and they were sick and tired of it. That is a normal response. Because you see this with the white folks. White folks don't just just turn the other cheek. Oh, let bygones be bygones. Bullshit. They don't operate like that, but they try to get us to operate like that, feeding us all this white Jesus turn the other cheek bullshit. And I'm saying that's interracially, but I'm talking intra-racially. What do we do about the Ray Ray and Pookie problem? Ray Ray and Pookie running around, killing each other in Chicago, killing each other in Baltimore, killing each other in Philadelphia. And then and the thing is, yeah, some of us don't give a shit when they kill each other, but when they kill one of us, where is the response? There's no response. You know what I mean? It's like they're doing their own thing, they got their own affairs, and then when you get involved, you know what I mean? They let us know that no motherfucker, you ain't that big, you ain't that fucking bad, you got no connections, you have no power here, we don't fear you. They should fear us, but they don't because we're not organized. I mean, they got another story out there of out of Brooklyn, right? And the white people, they done caught this, right? And it was so funny because you go in the comment sections and all the white people, they co-sign, and all the black people, I support the Bloods, right? Because that's how much they can't stand the Muslims. Why can't they stand the Muslims? Because unlike black people, when it comes to the system of white supremacy, Muslims actually fucking respond or responded. You fuck with them, they slamming planes into your fucking buildings, bringing the whole shit the fuck down. You fuck with them, they running people over with a goddamn truck. You fuck with them, they running into a building screaming Allahu Akbar, blowing themselves up, killing as many people as possible. You see what I'm saying? People can talk all the we don't advocate for violence, and violence only begets violence. That's not the way the world. That's not the way the world operates, and it's most certainly not the way that freaking white people have ever fucking operated. Which is why they're the dominant force on the fucking planet. They've dropped more bombs and killed more people and women and children than anybody. I love that clip with freaking Mike Wallace and freaking Farrakhan, when Farrakhan, when Mike Wallace tried to talk about, killing women and children and shit, and Farrakhan checked his ass talking about, what are you talking about? When you drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you drop those bombs on women and children, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, my point is, because I'm not advocating for harming women and children. My point is there's a response. I don't care what that response is. You come up with something creative, you come up with something creative. But there does need to be a response. There's just a point like where it's like it gets past, like you got society and its rules and its regulations and its laws. And I'm saying it gets to a point where it's like, yo, this is just some manhood shit. You know what I mean? Like when you look at how so getting back to the whole Muslims in Brooklyn, they got these Muslim patrols, right? They riding around in cop cars with MCP on the hood, Muslim community patrol, right? And I'm saying this is what irritates me, even still, even between educated lames and street niggas. Neither one has community patrols. Neither one has community patrols. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I find funny is, like, it's like, does Ray Ray and Pookie have some redeemable qualities? Yeah, absolutely. I wish that there were bits and pieces about Ray Ray and Pookie's behavior and demeanor and character and everything else that educated lanes would pick up. I wish educated lanes would stop running around like some scared ass bitches all the goddamn time. Okay? But Ray Ray and Pookie is fucking up. There's a selfishness when it comes to Ray Ray and Pookie that should not be tolerated in the community. Ray Ray and Pookie does not enhance the community. Ray Ray and Pookie does not build up the community or anybody else or anything in the community. Ray Ray and Pookie just takes. And the only thing Ray Ray and Pookie gives a fuck about is either his own kids or his own ego, which is connected to his woman or his kids, because they still preserve some aspect of some manhood shit. But it's not like they're actually doing it, to build up the community because we're trying to have intact, thriving patriarchal homes. No, it's just some residual remnant of some manhood shit, that they're trying to maintain. Because if you're gonna be out there rape, pillaging, and plundering and fucking other people up and everything else like that, and then somebody touches something that's supposed to be yours, you better respond if you the biggest, baddest motherfucker, and that's how you go out here and you operate and put yourself out there. So a lot of their type of response is ego based more than anything. But I'm not going to go too far with that because even with an educated lame in the same situation, it's ego based. So my point is that the ego based productive males still benefit everybody else. Ego-based, selfish males does not benefit anybody else in the community, and that's the difference between a supposed Ray Ray and Pookie and an educated lame, or the epitome of what an educated lame should be. Okay, but the one thing I can respect example, the Bloods in New York is I don't know what happened. I was listening to this white conservative YouTube channel or whatever, which is why it's good to go over there and subscribe to them and listen to their shit and like their shit and everything else. Yes, I don't agree with everything that they say, but again, I always keep my ears to the web. So he put out this video talking about the MCP, all the white people in the comment section demonstrating, oh, one guy even actually said it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So right there, he's letting you know that in any other context, if it wasn't for the MCP or Muslim community patrols, that these white folks would be black people would be white people's enemy, or black people are white people. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is what they said in the comment section. This is interesting. So if these Muslims were around, we would still be your enemy, right? But because the black people are getting into it with these Muslims and responding a certain way, this is like a whole story. And in my opinion, I think to white people, the Muslims are more of a threat than black people are, because the black people shit is so disorganized and in disarray. It's not even funny. See what the Muslims are doing in Brooklyn are the Muslims are doing the very thing that white people do, which is provide a structure for themselves. Okay, they're quote unquote challenging authority, even though they're claiming, oh well, we work with the New York Police Department and all this other stuff. I don't know how much that shit was approved or whatever, but my point is again going back to educated lanes. There's more sophisticated ways of handling shit, and that is from a top down situation, and that's essentially what the Muslims have done. Okay, the community has put and pooled their money together. Where do you think they got those cars from? How much did that cost, nigga? Like, where did y'all get the cars from? Where did you get the uniforms from? Where did you get the shoulder patches from? And all this other shit that you got, and the flashlights and the cones and the freaking sirens and all. Where'd you get all this shit? Okay, so they running around patrolling, the community. I mean, they're doing even a better job than the goddamn Hasidic Jews that are apparently getting fucked up all over New York right now. They're doing a better job than them, because I ain't seen no Hasidic Jew mobiles rolling around New York City, but I definitely seen them MCP, Muslim Community Patrol. And so anyway, some shit happened. One of the Muslims put their hands on a black kid. The black kid happened to be the child of a high-ranking Blood. So the Bloods went up to the mosque. Okay, one of them was strapped up, flashed the gun like motherfucker, don't try it. Don't be putting your hands on our fucking kids. Basically just went up there and threatened them. Okay, the Muslim Community Patrol did not call for backup. They didn't call the police. They called for backup. All of a sudden, woo, 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 they come pulling up, police fashion. They come pulling up in their MCP cars and get out, with this, this mob of, Muslim community patrol. And I'm saying, first off, I mean, there's a couple problems with that. Number one, nigga, you ain't the motherfucking police. Number two, the other issue I got is where is our black community patrol? Where's the BCP? Where is our, see, again, the Muslims took it upon themselves to enforce their own community. The white people don't like it because they don't like the idea of there being, an enclave for Muslims in their midst. They don't like that shit. They don't like Muslims operating in their own communities underneath Sharia law as opposed to U.S. constitutional law. They don't like that shit being in their fucking face, right? Challenging their authority, saying, yeah, your laws are cool and everything, but we don't operate like that. Our community operates by our own set of standards and rules and everything else like that. White people don't like that shit. That's why, in my opinion, the Muslims are more of a threat to white supremacists than black people, because black people try to assimilate. Black people, immerse themselves, in American culture and whatnot. Our issue is a poverty issue where white people somehow magically think that black people are going to have the same cultural context and culture as white folks while having, 1/16 of the resources. Like, fuck out of here. That's not going to happen. Poverty breeds social decay and social dysfunction. For further evidence, I direct you to any poor white community where there's poor whites. You see opioid epidemics and teen pregnancies and high rates of crime and gun violence and everything else. Just the motherfucking same. Okay, the fucking trailer parks ain't no better than the inner city. But let white people tell it, they're the superior race. But you know, watching the whole thing unfold, I'm like, see, the heart that these bloods have in terms of, going to the mile, like, we don't give a fuck about the white man's laws. Okay? You touch my fucking kid, saying, you gonna see my face. Period. Educated black men, do we operate like that? Nah. So when it came to Cecil Brown being shot up in outside the club of the Seaside, Seaside, what's shit called? Seaside Lounge. You know what I'm saying? The educated lame say the same thing. Motherfucker, you kill one of our brothers, you gonna see my face. Nah, nah. And then see, this ties directly back to the type of disrespect that we get with black women. This ties back to the type of attitudes that we get from black women and why they think Pookie is so sexy. Nobody's saying is Pookie is right in what Pookie does. Obviously, Pookie is not right in what he does. But there is something to be said about the fact that there is a response. The response may be fucked up. The response may be wrong. The response may be illegal. The response may be unjust. It doesn't matter. There's still a response. And that's what women are going to gravitate towards. You can say how stupid it is and everything else. That's what women are going to gravitate towards. Because they know if something happens that's foul enough that you are going to do something. You're not just going to sit there and like a little bitch and be like, oh, well, honey, maybe we should call the cops and da-da-da-da. You got no muscle. You got no connections. You got no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, people talk about Jay-Z and, oh, he's up there and he's being bougie. From what I know, Jay-Z still got goons in the street. You can, again, with what was Jay-Z almost got $1 billion with that type of money? He got motherfuckers on his payroll. Okay, Jay-Z is not the type of person that you want to fuck with. And I'm saying educated lames, I don't know what the fuck is going on with us. Like, there seems to be like there's so much contempt between us and street dudes that you couldn't put some of these motherfuckers on who know the streets to be like, there should have been a phone call when Cecil Brown got killed. It should have been like, bing, hey, Big T, yeah. We got a situation down here at Seaside Lounge. One of the brothers, he's an alpha, by the way. One of the brothers got killed, and we want to know who did it. There were several brothers there. They in the streets. We know somebody knows something. Obviously, they coming in there on a regular basis, right? Because this is a spot. I'm saying if it's seven individuals involved, somebody knows something. So when you get the information, give me a call. Boom, click, whatever. Move on. You see what I'm saying? That's how the shit is supposed to go down, right? But no, it doesn't happen because not only do educated lanes have no connection to the streets, right? Which demonstrates not only just how, because I don't believe that the majority of educated, I'm saying it's moving in that direction, but I don't believe the majority of educated lanes come from the burbs, because I've come across very few individuals who are like me. Most of the educated lanes I've come across are black men who came from poverty and made it the fuck out. They grew up in a single mother home and they made it out. So they know the streets. They're familiar with the streets. You know what I'm saying? And see, maybe this is why motherfuckers call y'all lame, because you have no ties to it, whatever. Again, we need balance, y'all. We need balance. If you grew up close to the streets, then you should know some people. You should have gotten to know some people. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes with the street dudes. You know what I'm saying? The street dudes, to a degree, they should be like, hey, man, I ain't built for that school shit, man. I just ain't that type of motherfucker. But you get on, you get your job or whatever, you get your connections, man. Don't forget where you came from and maybe you could help us out later on. But even street dudes, they don't think ahead. They don't do that shit. So you got educated lanes that don't have any connections to the fucking streets and the real community, right? And then you got street dudes that they be over there just teasing motherfuckers to death, to where when they actually get on, they have nothing but contempt for street dudes. And so now you got this situation where you got street dudes and Pookie warring over bullshit, and we still got white supremacy looming the fuck over us, when we should be coming together and forming fucking Voltron. Look, I understand from time to time there's going to be some bloodshed. I understand from time to time there's going to be some conflict. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be who's got the biggest dick in the room. I understand that when it comes to Ray Ray and Pookie and educated lames. I'm just saying right now we are completely the fuck off balance. And namely, I'm talking to educated lames when it comes to the fact that we just lost our dicks. Fuck a dick contest. We don't even have dicks at this point. These motherfuckers should have been found. And there should have been a balance between, in other words, balance need to be brought back to the force by these motherfuckers being found. Like, yeah, motherfucker, don't underestimate us. Yeah, we may be on some square shit. We got a little bow ties and shit. You know what I'm saying? We do our little Kappa dance or our little Q dance or whatever the hell. Yeah, but don't get it twisted, man. We ain't no fucking bitches, man. You don't just come in and just kill one of us and there's no fucking response. You see, like, it's like, reminds me of that movie, of fucking Training Day, right? What's interesting about Training Day? Training Day, right? So Denzel Washington in the movie goes off and he accidentally kills a Russian mob, associate or person or family member or something like that. So the Russian mob basically says, you have, 24 hours to acquire $1 million, otherwise we're going to come and kill you. So he goes around the movie, goes off, and tries to acquire the $1 million. And if you go and you look at that movie Training Day, notice all of the high-ranking police officers who knew Denzel Washington's character. They knew what was going on, and there was nothing that they could do about it. They didn't have the power to stop what was about to go down with the Russian mob. And Denzel Washington's character, was frantically running around trying to acquire this money. But the thing is like, when I noticed about those old white men that were in the movie, they were like, man, I thought you would have got out of town by now. That was one of the first things one of the police chiefs or whoever it was, some high-ranking DEA somebody, said to him. And Denzel Washington had to get permission to go in and take out that old white man that was sitting on the couch, when he shot him in the chest and was like, breathe, right? And then they dug up the floor, and then he had the SWAT team and broke them off, with some of the money, because he knew the money was there. The cops knew the money was there, right? But that's not even the big thing. I'm just saying he had to get permission to do it, right? Showing you the sort of underworld that goes on and takes place, even within the organization of legitimate systems. But the thing that got me about it is at the end of the movie, right? If you haven't seen Training Day, Denzel Washington gets killed, gets assassinated, right? They roll up on him, block him in, and mag dump on the car with fully automatic weapons, right? And, that's the end of the movie. But the part that gets me is the whole movie, they had to know where he was. You know what I mean? To be able to get him and find him, when they did, when he was at the intersection. They had followed him. They had to know where he was pretty much the whole movie. And I'm just saying, when shit like this goes down, motherfuckers should have the details before the police even have the details. They should know. The police can't know anything that the public doesn't know. What the police know, the police departments are not that sophisticated. You're not talking about the FBI, you're not talking about the CIA. Okay? I'm just saying the police departments are not that sophisticated. They got to get people to talk. It's one of the reasons people, I see all this stuff about people talking about, oh, there's crime in Baltimore. I'm watching a video of another conservative white man, and he was talking about Baltimore and how people don't have faith in the police, and they were basically blaming Democrats. When white supremacists want to deny white supremacy, they're either going to blame the Jews or they're going to blame the liberal whites or something like that. They're going to separate themselves. But anyway, he was talking about Baltimore and he's talking about the violence and that takes place and how these murders go unsolved. Philadelphia just recently had a protest about the murders getting unsolved, right? And what was I going to say about that? It was something I was going to say about the murders being unsolved in these cities. Hold on a second. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I was saying that the video was saying that the people have no faith in the police, and these murders go unsolved. Well, part of the reason the murders go unsolved is because there's a lot of no snitching policy that takes place culturally speaking within the black community. Nobody wants to say shit. People know shit, but nobody wants to say shit. And I get it to a degree because if somebody's caught snitching, the police ain't gonna be there to protect them, right? I mean, this is another reason why I advocate for black people to be armed and exercise their Second Amendment and stop supporting democratic gun control policies. But here's the other thing, the other part about these murders going unsolved. I'm saying, as educated lames who are supposed to be the men who control the economic landscape of the community, excuse me, economic and political landscape of the black community. Just like I talked about when I talked about white supremacy and how, in the Deep South during Jim Crow, you had white supremacists had infiltrated the government, just as white supremacists now have infiltrated the military. Okay, so once again, black people talking about the police and the freaking and if some shit goes down, the military is going to protect us. No, they're going to take you the fuck out. You saw them up there in Philadelphia with the okey doke signs, at the Army Navy game. You saw that shit. Okay, but anyway, going back to what I was saying, the thing is I'm gonna need, like, again, if we talking about dealing with Ray Ray and Pookie as Ray Ray and Pookie needs to be dealt with, okay, or at least curb a lot of this bullshit, because I know we're not just gonna go in there and eliminate crime, and we already talked about, hey, if it comes down to economics and we could get Ray Rays and Pookies off the street with jobs and gainful employment, you know what I mean? Give me a model, give me a plan, give me something. I'm in full support of it, okay? Because yeah, job and opportunities need to be there. But if you end up with people that still say, fuck a job, fuck working a 9 to 5, fuck gainful employment, then obviously they have to be dealt with accordingly. But the the other thing is, when it comes to all these unsolved murders that are taking place in cities like Philadelphia and Baltimore and whatnot, when it comes to a situation or a community or environment where educated lames control the economic and political landscape of that community, yeah, I'm gonna need black police officers and police chiefs and judges and prosecutors and DA and all that other shit, okay, and the mayor and everybody, they need to be in on it, okay? They need to be in on it. I need them to have the same lack of energy to solve these homicides that they currently have now. Um, I need them to have the same lack of energy when it comes to that they have when it comes to the crimes that are currently not being solved. Like in other words, some crimes just don't deserve to be solved. You see what I'm saying? Some of them just don't. Some people are so toxic to the community, they need to be gone. But I understand that our U.S. constitutional laws and all that don't allow for certain things to happen. But um, I think you all actually the whole movie is on YouTube. There's a movie. Came from a book. It's a true to life story. You can find the story on Wikipedia. There's a white man by the name of Mick Elroy. I forget what his name was. I want to say it was like Rex McElroy, but I think the actor in the movie looks like Rex Tillerson, so maybe that's where I'm getting Rex. But I forget what his first name was. But Mick Elroy. So in the 1980s, there was a white man by the name of Mick Elroy in a white town, I don't know whether it was this Georgia or whatever. And the name of the movie is called In Broad Daylight. Okay, and in the movie, I think the movie came out like 1988 or something like that. In the movie, there basically was this white man who was terrorizing the community. He shot an elderly couple. He was a womanizer. He had multiple kids, and I mean, he was just running around the town, just fucking with people, and the town got sick and tired of him. Okay, and at the end of the movie, and you can find a clip at the end of the movie. I'm telling you, just type in YouTube In Broad Daylight. Uh, he was in a bar with his wife. Basically, the town just came together and they were having a meeting about him and what they're gonna do about him. And I guess he walked in on him or something like that. I don't know. The movie's like, obviously there's the dramatization is even, they got to throw the extraness into it, for cinematic purposes. But basically, they took his ass the fuck out. And in real life, again, this is not just movie dramatization. In real life, that murder went unsolved. The whole town, apparently there were three different guns. The whole town saw that this man was murdered in broad daylight. That's why the name of the movie is In Broad Daylight. And guess what? Nobody said shit. That's how much this man was not liked. That's how much this man was not liked. They took him the fuck out, and you see it in the movie. They got the cop. He's mad. He's slamming his hat on the ground. I know somebody saw something. Ain't nobody talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, there's a time to snitch and there's a time not to snitch. And black people just have this blanket no snitch policy and whatnot on people who are really terrorizing the community. And if black people are that cowardly, if that's our approach, if that's our attitude, well then, be raped and pillaged, deal with the bullshit, deal with the murders, deal with the homicides. That's what happens when y'all want to be, weak, and y'all don't have the courage to stand up to anything, and y'all out here trying to raise your kids, and you live in a shitty ass neighborhood and y'all just not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the brothers that live in the inner city who ain't on no Ray Ray and Pookie shit, y'all should be on the front line. But see, I already know it's complicated. It's like dark skinned women kicking out light skinned women, who identify with, light skinned women culturally because, oh, they're black too and they're my sorority sister and this, that, and the third. Yeah. Some of y'all who live in the inner city, your brothers are Ray Ray and Pookie. Your cousins are Ray Ray and Pookie. Your relatives are gang members and shit like that. You know? And they may break you off from time to time and you ain't gonna say nothing. They help you here and there, maybe, or maybe they don't. All I'm saying is you ain't gonna see a bigger, better, brighter black community with this shit going on. There needs to be order. There needs to be structure. And again, if everybody in the community is protecting the people who are selfish, most selfish, and not protecting the people who are, more generous, then I don't know what you expect to see. I don't understand how you expect to see a better black community. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day, just bullshitting, and we came across this whole, this idea that black men are selfish and that black men, they don't do anything for anybody. I was like, that's bullshit. I was like, you know what, that is truly bullshit. And I was thinking about it because I had just seen a video the other day of I mean, I hate when white guys make these videos because it's embarrassing. But they were talking about, all these athletes and rappers who went broke. And what I noticed is, and it wasn't the majority of them, some of them, like DMX, just had too many damn kids and shit like that. He got like 10 kids, uh, and controls none of his music. But when it comes to, a lot of the black men who were, these multimillionaires who went broke, like AI, MC Hammer, we know how they went broke. How did they go broke? They was putting everybody on, giving everybody a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the idea that these people don't, they don't help the community when they get on, yeah, they do. And the sad part is people make fun of them because they're like, oh, nigga, how you go broke? Well, he was subsidizing everybody. He was supporting everybody. What you mean? How you think he doesn't go broke? And man, if I haven't seen this in damn near every black family that has one educated professional, that one educated professional has the weight of the world on their back. It's one of the reasons why black people can't build wealth. You know what I'm saying? Mama dies, guess who's paying for the funeral? Somebody's sick, guess who's paying for the hospital bill? Somebody needs help going to school and books and shit like that. Guess who's paying for that? Somebody needs help with the car or note or something. Guess who's paying for that? Somebody, Ray Ray got locked up and he needs bond. Guess who's paying for that? So and so got caught up with the police, and the police in this town are racist. And when little Jaquan needs a lawyer. Guess who's paying for that? You see, so when it comes to a lot of black folks that are the educated lames and the apex of their family and their community, they be paying for a lot of shit. They help out a lot of people. I mean, I could rattle off like 5 people off the top of my head that are doing just that. That got fucked up cousins and relatives and everything, and they just they're trying to pay their own bills and finance their own lifestyle, and they get phone calls every once in a while about freaking helping somebody out. My cousins was like that. My cousins were always locked up and shit like that. I remember being a little kid and hearing the answer machine, boop, you have a collect call from such and such county jail. I remember that shit, and then the answer machine would roll and shit. My grandfather got sick and tired of it. Shit would go boop, and then it'd be like my cousin on the other end, pop up. Yeah, could you lend me money so I could da 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 da? I'm in jail, da da da. And I'm just saying, it didn't just happen once; it happened multiple times. You can't help stupid. You can't fix stupid. But I'm just saying, in terms of black folks, and being generous and helping people out and whatnot, that shit goes on. You know what I mean? So don't sit, so people talking about, people, they get money and they don't help the hood. No, motherfuckers get money and they help the hood and they go broke helping the hood. So a lot of people push these sort of, these talking points. And don't get me wrong, yeah, there are selfish people who they get on and they say fuck the hood. But guess what? They're still good. All the ones sitting around trying to help the community and helping out people and whatnot, they're the ones that end up losing their own shit. So again, I'm just pointing that out, talking about people, you know, uh, in other words, if you're going to support, just pay attention to who you support in the community. You know what I'm saying? Oh, do they contribute to the community? Do they enhance the community? Do they enhance people's quality of life? Or do they just take, and they're just a detriment to the community? Those are the people who should be snitched on. But, again, with this whole, man, we can't stop snitching and all that other stuff. I mean, first off, stop snitching and stop the violence are 2 T-shirts that are diametrically opposed to one another. You ain't going to stop the violence if you got a no snitch policy. Okay? That's just not going to happen. But like I said, that's just the common people. That's just the regular people, typically your women and young people in the community, or your elders in the community, people that aren't fit enough to actually go out there and be the ones that are engaged in a physical confrontation, whether it's using firearms or not. Those are the people that see shit. Those are the people that are around. Hell, educated lanes are too busy being at fucking work making their goddamn money. You know what I'm saying? So again, we supposed to be the problem solvers. Y'all supposed to be the problem identifiers, because you see the shit when the shit goes down. Right? Especially if you got an educated lane supporting you or supporting his household or supporting his woman and his child or whatever. Okay? You're home. You see when shit goes down. You see, or you have the luxury of having the free time or allowances or some shit produced by an educated lane to allow you to go to the club and see shit go down. Motherfucker gets home on a Friday or Saturday night He's in the bed. You know how many times? You know how many Saturday is? The older you get, Saturdays are not. Oh, let me go out and go to the club. Saturdays are let me sleep the fuck in. I don't have to get up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever days you have, whatever days you rotate through. Where sometimes it might be a Monday or it might be a Thursday or whatever, depending on your schedule. But that day that you have off, the older you get, you ain't trying to turn up. You trying to turn all the way down. You trying to turn off. You know what I mean? You just trying to be stinky all day and not take a shower and hey, silence. I'm watching The Mandalorian. I have spoken. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's just what you're doing, right? But I'm just pointing out, man. I'm like, we got it. There needs to be a response. I'm not telling you to. I'm not advocating for violence. You got to say that for YouTube purposes. But look into my eyes, right? Look into my eyes, right? You get what I'm saying? There needs to be a response. And again, it could be a response of force. It can be a response that's more sophisticated. And my whole thing is, as educated black men, a sophisticated response should always be the first response. I mean, hell, if you're educated, you should be able to know how to respond in a sophisticated manner to where you don't have to get your hands dirty. But I don't even see us doing that. We just look at it like, oh well, another one bit the dust, and that's it. That's all we'll say. Another one bit the dust. That's it, man. It's unfortunate. Sorry, Cecil Brown. Yeah, and that's why everybody runs around and looks at y'all educated lames like y'all some bitch ass nigga. I swear, I don't even know why black women cry about educated lames and whatnot going over the fence and whatnot and getting with Becky because, and like real talk, like there's really nothing that they actually like about us. You know what I'm saying? Hell, there's a lot of shit that I don't even like about us. Okay, but I'm just saying, when it comes to this, um, there needs to be a response. When they see educated lanes with Becky, I don't even know why they complain. Just looking at this shit, I'm like, I don't even know why you complain. Let them bitch ass niggas go, because clearly there's no fucking response. And then on the flip side, then you get the women that are complaining, Ray Ray and Pookie done raped and pillaged me, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they don't value the black woman or whatever. And so they're going to complain on both fronts regardless. I'm just saying black women will. They're going to complain on both fronts. That Ray Ray and Pookie is doing X, Y, and Z to them, and then they want a response from the black men that they've already identified don't respond, which is why they're not attracted to them or interested in dealing with them or being with them in the fucking first place. I'm like, brilliant. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.